Good morning or good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's program, Overview of Smart Call Home and Device Diagnostics. A few housekeeping notes to begin. As you entered the WebEx console, you either joined us by audio broadcast or by phone, which is automatically muted. Because of our large audience in attendance today, you will remain muted throughout the event. When you have a question, please feel free to enter it into the WebEx Q&A panel as you think of them. You can find the Q&A panel in the bottom right-hand corner of the console. Please leave the WebEx chat window for communication to our WebEx facilitators for any problems or issues you may be experiencing today. We would also appreciate your input regarding today's webcast, and a short survey will appear when you close your browser at the end of the event. At this time, I'd like to pass it over to our moderator, Dan Gerson. Dan?
Thank you. Hello and welcome everyone to the Cisco support community. Today we present a live Cisco support community expert series webcast. Our topic today, Smart Call Home and Device Diagnostics. My name is Daniel Gerson and I am the content manager for the Cisco Live virtual platform. Our expert joining me today is Bryan Williams. Bryan is a technical marketing engineer in the Technical Services Product Management Group at Cisco. He's an expert in the configuration, registration, and operation of Smart Call Home. Welcome, Bryan. Now I'd like to briefly outline the format for today's expert series event. Bryan will start with a short presentation on Smart Call Home for the first hour of the program, and then we will dive into the live question submission for the remainder of the event. During our live presentation, you may submit questions to be answered by Bryan and a team of Cisco technical experts using the Q&A box on the right side of the console. The team of experts is well versed in Smart Call Home, so please begin posting your questions now to give us the best chance of answering them. If you experience any technical issues, please post those questions into the chat. As always, we'll be asking polling questions during this webcast, and we definitely encourage you to participate by answering them. We also provide a PDF of today's presentation. You can download this PDF using the link that will show up in the chat box on the right. Let's get started with today's event, and we'll start off with our first polling question. On what device types do you have Cisco Smart Call Home enabled? A, data center devices, such as Nexus or UCS. B, switches. C, routers. D, security. E, voice and unified communications. F, service provider devices, such as CSR or ASR. G, all devices we own that are supported. Or H, none at this time. Please take a moment to answer. Don't forget, you guys can submit your questions at any time, and we'll keep them until we're ready for the Q&A portion of the event. Now let's get started. I'll pass the mic over to Bryan so he can begin his presentation.
Hello, everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to direct your attention to a couple of URLs. The first is the Smart Call Home page on cisco.com, which is cisco.com/go/smartcall. And the second is the Smart Call Home support community. Throughout the presentation, I'll be referring to collateral that exists on both of these pages. For anyone that wants to follow along, or especially for anyone who intends to implement Smart Call Home soon, it might be good to have this first URL up in a separate browser to follow along as I refer to the additional documentation. All right, so our agenda for today, I'm going to introduce Smart Call Home and Device Diagnostics, cover the general workflow, common benefits of the service, and device and contract coverage. We'll touch briefly on the prerequisites for registration, discuss different methods for configuring and registering devices, and finally explore a few of the reports and tools available in the Smart Call Home portal. So what is Smart Call Home? Smart Call Home combines proactive device monitoring with Cisco's collective customer knowledge to accelerate the diagnosis and remediation of issues through proactive, rules-based problem resolution. Device Diagnostics is a capability based on Smart Call Home, available to our SmartNet Total Care customers and partners with collaborative contracts like Partner Support Services and SmartCare. When a customer enables Smart Call Home on a device, the component registers with the Embedded Event Manager, or EEM, providing access to over 30 internal event detectors, including Gold, generic online diagnostics, environmental, crash, and syslog detectors. When an eligible event is detected, Smart Call Home executes additional show commands while the problem is occurring and forwards all of the diagnostic information securely over the internet to the Smart Call Home servers at Cisco. Where backend systems parse and analyze all of the data using rules stored in the Smart Call Home library to provide a description of the error, the impact of the error, remediation steps for the error. The customer is then notified by email that a message has been received. And for the most critical errors, Smart Call Home will automatically raise a service request with the TAC. The specific errors that qualify for service request creation and for notification are documented in the monitoring detail sheet on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com, which we looked at a moment ago. Then all of the events are published to the Smart Call Home portal, where the customer can run reports to view past events and view details for specific events. Okay. For our partners, the workflow is initially similar. The customer or the partner configures the device. We use the same secure transport and execute the same parsing rules. However, all notifications, including those that would have created a service request, are sent to the partner by email, and by default, only the partner has access to the portal, though the partner can later grant customers access to the portal and choose to send notifications to end customers as well. Because Smart Call Home is a feature embedded in the operating system, it can access fault and environmental data from other embedded systems like Gold, the generic online diagnostics, which provides real-time health monitoring, scheduled on-demand and boot diagnostics, and precise fault isolation. Once received from the device, Smart Call Home automated diagnosis capability uses Cisco intellectual capital to match the precise diagnostics from Smart Call Home with actionable recommendations. And that intellectual capital is always growing. A dedicated team of Smart Call Home engineers constantly review support cases and the support community to identify new known errors, workarounds, and solutions to publish as new rules. At the same time, TAC engineers author and publish new rules based on active cases. And this is an example of attack engineer using internal analytics to identify a new known error and write a rule to detect future occurrences of that error. Because these new rules are published and executed on servers at Cisco, every Smart Call Home customer can take advantage of the new rule immediately without upgrading the managed device. So let's look a little bit deeper at a specific instance where a customer could have realized the benefits of Smart Call Home. The ability to automatically create a service request can significantly reduce the time and effort required to resolve a problem. Here we see the timeline for a real attack case and the savings in time and effort that could have been realized if Smart Call Home had been deployed when this component failed. In this case, the time from detection to resolution would have been reduced from nearly 30 to under 6 hours. Without Call Home, an admin detected a symptom of the problem while trying to configure multicast and raised a case. The first team to receive the case verified the configuration, worked with the customer to isolate the problem to a specific port, and routed the case to the switching team. Switching team checked for known errors, then requested additional log data from the customer. And finally, TAC identified a gold diagnostic message in the log indicating a failed component and created an RMA. With Smart Call Home, that gold diagnostic failure would have immediately triggered Smart Call Home. A case would have automatically been raised and routed to the appropriate team within TAC. And the TAC engineer would have used the data already included with the fault to verify the error and create the RMA. If the engineer had needed to perform a configuration check or search for known issues, that data would have already been provided for him in the portal as well. These features combine to provide higher network availability through faster detection and remediation of faults, less time troubleshooting because the data required to route and resolve the issue is automatically included with the case, and fast access to targeted information through the Smart Call Home portal. Smart Call Home is available for devices under a number of Cisco contracts, including SmartNet and SmartNet Total Care, SP Base for our service provider customers, Unified Computing Support Service and Mission Critical Support Service for our UCS customers, and collaborative partner contracts like Partner Support Service and SmartCare. And if we look at the devices added in just the last 2 releases, we see that Smart Call Home is available on a wide range of Cisco solutions, including Data Center, here the Fabric Interconnects, the Nexus series and the MDS, borderless networks, including the Catalyst and ISR and ASR, security, the ASA, service provider with both carrier Ethernet and service provider routing, and collaboration with support in our Unified Call Manager. A complete list of the supported devices is available on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com.
Thanks, Brian. Let's have a look at our second polling question. What is, or what do you think will be, the most useful aspect of Smart Call Home for you and your organization? Is it A, proactive diagnostics, B, real-time alerts, C, automatic generation of service requests, D, remediation advice, E, convenient web reports, or F, other? Please take a moment to answer on the right side of the console. Back to you, Bryan.
Thank you. So let's take a moment to explore how we can ensure a successful Smart Call Home deployment. Before configuring and registering devices, there's a short list of prerequisites to verify. First, we need to ensure that the target devices are covered by Smart Call Home and are running a supported operating system. Again, a complete list of the supported devices and the minimum OS version for those devices is available on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com. Look for the supported devices table on the left side for those that are following along. Second, the user that's registering the devices needs to have a valid Cisco.com login. The device must be covered by an eligible contract. And in order to validate that the user is entitled to manage the device and to raise TAC cases, potentially resulting in an RMA, that contract must also be associated with the user's Cisco.com profile. The Smart Services Bureau is available to assist customers with this verification or answer any questions that the customers may have during registration. Instructions for contacting the Smart Services Bureau are available on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com and will be provided on the last slide in the presentation. We have results from the looks like the most popular feature would be proactive diagnostics, followed closely by automated SR creation. Excellent. For our partners, the checklist is slightly different. Every collaborative partner should have one or more administrators with access to the Service Access Management tool. Once per Build to ID, that partner administrator must provide email addresses that will receive fault and administrative notifications using the contact management screen in the Smart Call Home portal. Also, using the Service Access Management tool, the partner administrator should assign the Build to ID to the Cisco.com profile for any additional users at the partner that require access. The partner may also wish to register and assign privileges to end customers through the Smart Call Home portal. And of course, the Smart Services Bureau is also available to aid partners with the prerequisites or to answer any questions they may have during registration. This is the recommended workflow for obtaining Smart Call Home. First step, the customer and partner and Cisco work together to establish a service contract. Next, we need to identify the devices under those contracts that are eligible for the service and that the customer wishes to activate in Smart Call Home. And then, based on that list, pick a transport type for delivering messages to Cisco. Here we see four options. The preferred option is at the top, which would be HTTPS directly from the device to Cisco. And then the least preferred option would be the last, would be emailed directly from the customer's SMTP server to Cisco. But that would be an unencrypted transport. In the middle, we see the transport gateway, which is a purpose-built proxy server for Smart Call Home messages. Any customer that has devices that cannot communicate directly over the internet or require the use of an HTTP proxy server in order to do so may choose to deploy this transport gateway. Later this month, a white paper will be available on the support community demonstrating a validated deployment of the transport gateway on the Linux operating system, as well as outlining some common use cases for the transport gateway. Next, the customer configures, activates Smart Call Home on the device. And at this point, the partner should set the NOC and admin email address in the Smart Call Home portal, and customers might also choose to bulk register devices at this point. Next, we initiate and confirm device registration with Smart Call Home. At this point, partners may also choose to register end customers. We verify transmission using test messages. And from there, machine-to-machine communication between the device and Smart Call Home at Cisco is established. For customers who choose to configure devices manually or use an existing configuration management tool, this is the minimum set of commands required to enable the default Smart Call Home profile on a typical device. Though enhancements in the latest ASA and iOS images for selected devices further simplify this process. If a customer chooses to enable email transport, that requires a few additional commands. For example, specifying an SMTP server. Also, if the customer wished to encrypt the data using HTTPS, that would also require a few additional commands. One of those importing a certificate. And many additional options are also available for customers that want to tightly control the data that they send back to Cisco. Quick start guides are available on the Smart Call Home page on cisco.com for each supported device. For those that are following along, you're going to see those toward the left side of the page. There will be a pick list. And a video covering registration methods is available through the Smart Call Home support forum. We see a link to that here. For existing customers of Cisco Prime, or for customers in need of a configuration management solution, Cisco's Prime LMS can be used to push the Smart Call Home configuration to groups of devices. To do so, the customer would log on to their Cisco Prime deployment, choose the Template Center under Configuration, select the required templates for the target devices, choose the group of devices to push config to. Enter a contact email address. This is the email address that will receive the invitation to complete the registration. Enter any additional commands that are required in the customer's environment. And finally, schedule and execute the configuration. A video is also available for this process on the Cisco.com page and on the support forum. Once devices are configured, they must be registered with Smart Call Home. At the end of the configuration process, the test inventory message that is typically executed will also initiate the registration process. For the first device on a direct contract, the contact email address specified in the config will receive an invitation to confirm registration in the Smart Call Home portal, as seen here. That email contains a security token and a link to the Smart Call Home portal with the security token already embedded. That URL will launch the device registration page in the portal, as seen here. Here, the user has the option to select one or more devices on the pending registration list or to enter the security token. The user can then confirm the selected registrations by clicking the Complete Device Registration button at the bottom of the page. The user will receive another email confirming the registration. Note that this is only required for the first device on a direct contract. Subsequent devices on the same contract will not require this confirmation, and devices on collaborative contracts through our partners never require confirmation. Partners or customers may also choose to use the bulk registration feature, typically before configuring devices. The bulk registration option is available on the portal homepage under Registration Management. To bulk register, an admin uploads a structured file containing the required data for multiple devices. The required and optional fields for the input file are described on this page. The ones with an asterisk are required. And a bulk registration sample file is provided as a template, actually in two formats. Once all the required fields are entered in the template, the administrator selects the file using the Browse button and the typical Windows Browse feature, and then clicks the Upload File button to submit the bulk registration. Note that the UI will not recognize spreadsheets in the latest XLSX format. So to avoid compatibility issues, we recommend saving and uploading a CSV file instead. For SmartNet TotalCare customers, a white paper is available on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com, showing how the user can export the required fields from the SmartNet TotalCare portal in order to create a Smart Call Home bulk import file. The customer will receive an email confirming that the bulk registration request has been processed. The email includes an attachment. which indicates the registration status for each device. Regardless of the method used to register devices, the customer can search for and view all registered devices using the Registered Devices report in the Smart Call Home portal. The Smart Call Home portal provides the partner, customer, and TAC access to all of the information forwarded to Smart Call Home. It provides an interface to configure device preferences like notifications and service request creation. It provides an interface for partner administrators to set NOC and admin email addresses and to control end customer access. It provides an interface for partners and customers to manage user, device, and transport gateway registrations, and it provides access to advanced features like bulk registration, device groups, and maintenance windows. Reports available through the Smart Call Home portal include call home messages and diagnostics, inventory and configuration for all call home devices, security alerts, field notices, and end-of-life notices. The Smart Call Home History Report allows the administrator to search for events based on a device or time period. And for a specific event, we'll show the details regarding the affected device and an overview of the event, including a link to the resulting service request, if appropriate. Scrolling down a bit, we see the results for individual tests associated with this event, which includes a description of the test, impact of the failure, and a recommendation for resolution. Selecting the View Device Output link above shows the raw diagnostic information, including the result of any additional commands forwarded by the device. For a list of the commands that are executed and forwarded to Smart Call Home, see the Smart Call Home configuration section in each product's configuration guide. A link for each guide is provided on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com. You'll see those links down toward the lower right. Also on the support community, read my recent blog showing how to use Debug Called Home to observe and validate these commands on your own device. The device report allows an administrator to search for devices. The report initially displays summary inventory information, as well as the date of the last inventory and the date of the last configuration update for each device. Clicking on the serial number reveals contract and contact information, as well as detailed inventory, including installed modules. Using the registered device report shown earlier, the admin can view and edit device preferences for a device, multiple devices, or a device group. The current settings for each selected device are displayed at the top of the screen. By default, service request creation is enabled for registered devices, and the user that registered the device is the only contact for SRs and notifications. By selecting one or more devices displayed at the top of the screen, the admin can toggle service request creation and assign the role of service request contact to another administrator. The admin can also toggle notifications and choose additional Cisco.com profiles or email addresses to receive notifications. And back to where we began. The Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com includes guides, case studies, compatibility information, support resources, white papers, and more. Our second link here is to the Smart Call Home portal. The third is a link to the Smart Call Home support forum, which includes blogs, Q&A, and ongoing discussions. And last, we have a link to the Smart Services Bureau, where customers can get assistance with registration or get answers to any questions they have about the prerequisites for the service.
Okay, let's follow up with our last polling question. If you use or have used Smart Call Home, what part of the process do you think needs improvement? A, understanding the relationship between contracts, serial numbers, and Cisco.com accounts. B, configuration. C, registration. D, understanding how to use the portal. E, don't use Smart Call Home. F, other. Take a moment to answer on the right side. Just want to remind you, you can still submit questions about Smart Call Home for Bryan and our team of experts. Please do submit those at any time, so it would give us the best chance of getting that answered for you. Okay, we're going to move into our Q&A portion of today's event. And we'll start off with the first question. What type of service contract is needed for Smart Call Home?
Thanks a lot. What type of service contracts are required for Smart Call Home? Let me jump back to that slide. Smart Call Home is available for devices covered by SmartNet or SmartNet Total Care contracts, as well as the UCS support service and Mission Critical support service, SP Base, and collaborative contracts like Partner Support Services and SmartCare.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. Will the Smart Call Home be automatically extended when we renew the service contracts?
Yes. The Smart Call Home feature is always available for any device covered by an active contract. Supported contract.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to the next question. How can you configure many devices at the same time? Is there a tool that allows you to configure many devices at once?
Absolutely. There are a number of tools that support specific devices. For example, the DCNM tool from the data center, for the data center products, as well as the SAN storage devices. But Cisco Prime, as we looked at a little earlier, is also an option for configuring a broad range of devices and in groups.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. If an RMA is issued automatically from the Smart Call Home, how does the system know the correct address to send a new part to?
I am not positive. I'm going to have to get one of my experts in the panel to handle that question for me.
Okay, no problem. That is why they're there. Let's move on to the next question in the meantime. And when the expert does answer, you can answer into the chat where everyone can see the answer to that question. So let's move on. Does Smart Call Home send me alerts on iOS versions that have bugs with a recommendation to upgrade to a different iOS version?
Smart Call Home does include field notices, which should cover that case. It does not make recommendations for upgrades. That feature is available in one of our other services that is included with SmartNet Total Care.
Okay, let's move on. What classes of problems can Smart Call Home handle? Is it only hardware problems? Can it accept and process functional and performance-related problems with each supported platform?
Yes, Call Home processes environmental data as well as diagnostic data, so the environmentals are absolutely covered.
Okay. Don't forget, everyone, you can still submit your questions today. We have plenty of time to go through them all, so please do just post those questions into the chat. And we'll move on to our next question. Will you briefly show security alert and EOL reports from the portal?
We're working on finding that at the moment. Give us a minute on that one.
Sure, we can come back to that. Move on to another question in the meantime, and then we can circle back once those slides are ready. Let's go to another question. Can Smart Call Home create a case in my own ticketing system?
Great question. Smart Call Home is integrated with another service called Smart Bonding. And with Smart Bonding, Cisco would be able to directly exchange ticketing data with the customer or the partner's ticketing system. So if you would like more information on that service, I suggest you send an email to asksmartservices@cisco.com, and we'll have someone contact you with more information.
Great. Let's go to the next question. Are all UCS servers covered by Smart Call Home, or is it just limited to the C-Series servers?
In fact, the Call Home feature is in the UCS Manager, or UCSM. So all of the B-Series, which require UCSM, would be supported. And any of the C-Series, or the rack servers, that are integrated with UCSM would be C-Series server, one that's deployed outside of the scope of the UCS domain, would not be covered by Smart Call Home currently. And there's actually a white paper on that subject on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com with a lot more detail.
Okay, great. We have a security-related question, I believe. Can someone connect to my Cisco devices using Smart Call Home?
Absolutely not. All of the communication is one way. It's always initiated from the device and sent to the back end at Cisco. And the customer is in complete control of the information, the level of information, the severity of the information that is sent to Cisco.
Okay, good news. What kind of events trigger alerts?
A lot of different types of events. And in fact, we have a monitoring detail sheet on the Smart Call Home page at Cisco.com that shows exactly which events are supported, which events will qualify to send a notification, and which events will qualify then to raise a service request with TAC.
Okay, looks like we have somewhat of a follow-up question on that. Is there a method to forward debugs on an iOS device to a TAC case via Smart Call Home?
On some devices, there is a Call Home Send command that can be used to forward additional diagnostics. On other devices, it's also possible to add show commands to the various alert groups in order to send additional information along with the standard set.
Okay, I think we have another one along that same line. Does Smart Call Home use EEM scripts or SNMP traps and syslogs?
Smart Call Home does use EEM in order to subscribe to the event detectors, like Gold and environmental and crash. Smart Call Home does not use SNMP in any form, either as a method for collecting information or as a method for delivering events.
Okay, moving on. Is Smart Call Home available with UCCE-E and CVP products?
I'm going to have to ask one of my experts on the panel to field that one for me.
Okay, no problem. We'll post that answer into the chat as well so everyone can see.
Great.
What's the difference between Smart Call Home and Call Home?
You may notice that all of the commands in the CLI and in the configuration omit the smart from the Call Home. Technically, the component in the operating system on the customer's premise is called Call Home, and the back-end servers are Smart Call Home. But I find that the distinction is more confusing than it is helpful, so I will generally refer to the entire solution as Smart Call Home, as I did today.
Okay, let's go to our next question. How does Cisco gather the intellectual capital that is used to create the remediation recommendations?
It comes from a variety of sources. Two that we covered today. We have a team within the Smart Call Home development organization that constantly watches for new intellectual capital by parsing cases and watching the support forums. The TAC engineers themselves can also write rules and submit those into the intellectual capital library. And then while we are parsing events, we will, on some occasions, use even other internal sources to get some remediation or recommendation data.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's get to another question from our audience. What are some of the typical problems you've seen with Smart Call Home so far? Are there any bugs we should take into account?
Are we asking about bugs in Smart Call Home or bugs that have been identified by Smart Call Home?
From the wording of the question, it sounds like they may be asking about Smart Call Home itself.
Right. We covered the prerequisites for Smart Call Home. Let me see if I could bring that slide up. Okay. So during the registration process, it's very important to make sure that these prerequisites are satisfied. And the Smart Services Bureau, did it not build on your screen? No. The Smart Services Bureau is available to help customers through that process. There we go. So again, those are, we need to ensure that the device is supported and running a supported operating system. The customer must have a login, and that login, that Cisco.com profile, must be associated with the same contract as the device that they are attempting to register. So I would say if customers do have any frustration in turning up Smart Call Home, it's almost certainly related to one of those prerequisites, and that's why we have the Smart Services Bureau there to help customers with this.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Is there any information about the Smart Call Home roadmap that can be shared?
Again, I'm going to defer that one to our panel. We definitely have an expert there on that topic.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. And just, again, we do have plenty of time, so please do submit your questions for Bryan to answer. Let's go to our next question. What exactly is Transport Gateway, and how does it work?
Fantastic. The Transport Gateway is a purpose-built proxy server for Smart Call Home messages. The team identified pretty early on that there are situations where customers do not choose, do not desire to grant internet access directly from their devices, or may require the use of a traditional proxy server in order for those devices to gain access to the internet. So in those cases, we provide the Transport Gateway as a solution. It's a software package that can be deployed on Windows, Linux, or Solaris. It's registered with the back end, and in that registration process, a unique ID and password are created, so we're not using the customer's credentials for that communication. And it is able to accept incoming communication from devices via either SMTP or HTTP, and then always securely transmit that data back to Cisco using HTTPS. So there are actually a number of additional cases where the customer might want to deploy a transport gateway. One being an administrator that wished to inspect all of the traffic on their LAN before securely delivering it to Cisco over the internet. And I cover all of that in the Transport Gateway white paper, which is going to be published later this month.
Okay, let's go to our next question. Are there any hardware specifications about devices supported that I need to check before installing? For example, minimum amount of RAM needed.
No, we just need to make sure that the operating system on the device, be it iOS or NXOS or others, is at least the minimum supported version. And that data is available on the Cisco.com page in the supported devices table.
Okay, very good. Here's another question. Is there a place where we could collaborate with proposing new rules to be added into the system?
There is absolutely a process for submitting customer requests. How we get those into the system, I'm going to defer to the panel.
Okay, and we'll see that answer in the chat window from the panel. Let's move on to the next question. How much system resources does Smart Call Home use? Will it impact my network performance?
Smart Call Home is embedded in the device, and it accesses much of the fault data through EEM. So it is able to see a wide range of indicators of the health of the device with very little impact to the performance of the device. Once an eligible event is detected, and again, Smart Call Home is doing a certain amount of filtering based on Cisco IP. Once an eligible event is detected, we will run additional show commands, and those are documented in the configuration guide for each of the products. Those commands always have an impact, but that is only when an event is detected. And typically the customer would wind up running those commands anyway, so it's no additional impact. And then no measurable impact on the network compared to a traditional network management system that would use a chattier protocol like SNMP or syslog, definitely syslog.
Okay, let's go to our next question. If you don't renew a contract but continue to have Smart Call Home configured on your devices, what will happen? Does it still work?
The customer would definitely no longer be able to take advantage of the automatic service request creation feature because the product would no longer be eligible for that support.
Okay, sounds like a good idea to keep your contracts up to date. Next question, can you explain in more detail how Gold Diagnostics work?
That is explained in detail in our on the Cisco.com site in We'll get the name of that document for you. Give us just a moment. Okay. It's going to be to the left under collateral. You'll see Accelerating Network Health with Smart Call Home. Explains in greater detail how Smart Call Home leverages Gold and EEM in the device.
Okay, we have another contract-based question. Are contracts renewed automatically by default?
I'm going to defer that one to the panel.
Okay. We've got another question on support. How many devices does Smart Call Home support? Is there an upper limit for each customer?
No. No upper limit.
Okay. Is there a free trial available to test out the capabilities of Smart Call Home?
For out-of-warranty devices that are not currently covered under a contract, a trial period of, I believe, 90 days is available.
Okay, another contract question. How do I update my contract associated with the Smart Call Home registration?
That option is available in the Edit Device Preference screen in the portal.
Okay, we have another question, and we do have some time left, folks, so please do get a few more questions in. At what point does Smart Call Home create a service request?
It will create a service request anytime an eligible event is detected, and again, that list is going to be in the monitoring detail sheet on the Smart Call Home page on Cisco.com.
Okay, we'll get moving on into our last question here. How is Smart Call Home different from Device Diagnostics, which was discussed earlier?
Smart Call Home is the tool, and Device Diagnostics is a capability provided by that tool to customers of our SmartNet Total Care or our collaborative services.
Okay. Actually, we got one more question that just made it in just in time regarding the free trial. They're asking, how does the free trial work? Do I just follow the steps to register the out-of-warranty device?
Yes, it's the same registration process.
Okay, sounds good. So we definitely appreciate everyone's feedback and their time today. Everyone who fills out the evaluation survey will enter to win a $20 US gift certificate. To complete the evaluation, just go ahead and click on the link provided in the chat window, or it should just pop up after the event is closed. Bryan will be available over the next weeks at the Cisco Support Community Forum website, where he'll be answering additional questions on Smart Call Home. If you do have additional questions or some follow-ups that you'd like to discuss, the links are right here, and you can always just go to supportforums.cisco.com. Be sure to join us for our next event. The topic will be LAN switching, and the event will be open from March 12th through the 22nd. Our featured expert will be Matt Blanchard. Be sure to check that one out. We also have an upcoming webcast in Spanish covering the Cisco Unified Communications Manager. That will be taking place on Tuesday, March 20th. We also have another webcast coming up in Japanese. The topic will be Cisco UCS, Best Practices and Troubleshooting. This will take place on March 27th, 10 a.m. Tokyo time. For those in California, that's March 26th at 6 p.m. Next month, we have another webcast coming up in English. This one will be covering the Cisco Unified Call Manager and IP phone security. That event will take place on Tuesday, April 3rd at 11 p.m. San Francisco time, 11:30 a.m. India time, and 8 a.m. Paris time. Here's a list of our links for all our social media and collaboration links. Be sure to check these out if you have a moment, as well as our communities in our foreign languages as well. And of course, don't forget to register for Cisco Live 2012, June 10th to the 14th, taking place in San Diego. If you register by March 30th, you can save up to $300 off the registration. The site for that is ciscolive.com/US. Okay, I want to say thank you to Bryan, our expert speaker today, as well as our staff of experts. And thank you to you, our audience, for taking the time with us and participating in our event today. Have a great day.
Thank you. So that concludes our event for today. Just a reminder that the survey will appear when you close your browser at the end of the event. We greatly appreciate your feedback. Thank you for joining us and have a great day.